Godzilla, the king of the monsters, and Groudon, the continent Pokemon. Two behemoths of their worlds that share several characteristics like their usage of fire, sharp claws, monstrous roars, and similar postures. But these similarities draw a comparison, and no other comparison is more debatable than who would win in a fight one-on-one. Today, we will answer that question, but we need to discuss some prerequisites first. Firstly, the Godzilla we will be evaluating is the original Godzilla from 1954 against Groudon from the Mega Evolution Special. So yes, it is Primal Groudon, not regular Groudon. We will also take into consideration Groudon's in-game move, abilities, and stats, as well as his Pokédex entries. No manga though. We will be comparing the two beasts in several categories such as strength, speed, durability, abilities, and then lastly, IQ. Without further ado, this is Groudon vs. Godzilla. Before we get to the categories, let's look at the two beasts' stats. Primal Groudon is 5 meters tall, around 14 feet, and weighs 1,000 kilograms, or around 2,205 pounds. Very impressive for a Pokemon. On the other hand, Godzilla is 50 meters tall, so almost 120 feet, and weighs over 20,000 tons. So Godzilla dwarfs Groudon in terms of size and stature. But hey, size isn't everything. Strength. Both these monsters are very strong, but which one is the strongest? Let's start with Godzilla. Godzilla in the original movie showed several enormous feats of strength, such as carrying trains, demolishing buildings, and trampling houses, but his most impressive feat of strength was completely destroying this bridge, which was calculated to weigh over 25,000 tons. Shout out to Power Crunch and his video on how strong Godzilla 1954 is. He is much stronger than me at calculating this type of stuff, and if you're interested in videos like mine, check out his channel. Link in the description. On the other hand though, we have Groudon, whose strength is a lot less impressive. Groudon's most impressive feat of strength was being able to lift and throw Primal Kyogre. Primal Kyogre weighs around 1,000 pounds. In comparison, that's 0.0002% of the bridge's weight. Godzilla wins easily by a landslide. The weight difference and how much their most impressive feats are is just too much. Speed. Okay, so Groudon may not be stronger, but let's see how he does in the speed department. We'll start with Godzilla though. Godzilla's speed has been calculated to be a monstrous 8.5 miles per hour. In comparison, that's slightly above the running speed of a normal person. So speed isn't exactly Godzilla's strong suit. His reaction speed though is actually very impressive at 23.3 meters per second when you look at how he reacts with his tail and arms, which is superhuman, so you know, good job Godzilla. I mean, he was able to react to jets that travel almost at Mach 1, so that is very impressive reaction speed. But let's take a look at Groudon. The most obvious place to start to analyze Groudon's speed would be his in-game speed stat, which is 90 for Primal Groudon, but that's basically useless because speed stat and their canonical speed basically have nothing to do with each other, but that's a whole different topic. Groudon's actual movement speed is probably something more like 15 miles per hour. A lot of people say he's supersonic or fast and light, but that's ridiculous. I mean, look how fast he's going here. It's really not much faster than Godzilla. Probably slightly, so which is why I got 15 miles per hour. His reaction time is supersonic / fast and light though, because he's able to react and counter attacks that do move at the speed of light from other very powerful Pokemon. Thus, in terms of their movement speed, whilst they both aren't, winning any awards there, Groudon does win. And in terms of reaction speed, they're actually both very impressive there, but overall, the more impressive victor is Groudon. So the speed category will go to Groudon. Durability. Well, now we know how hard and how fast they hit, but that won't matter if they go down in one hit. So let's analyze how durable are they. Godzilla's most impressive feat of durability is tanking a nuke. He was able to completely eat the Castle Bravo hydrogen bomb, whose yield was around 15 megatons of TNT. Not to mention the fact that it would be durable to all forms of fire and heat, because his internal organs and body are constantly handling the heat of his atomic breath. This will become more impressive later on as we learn how much energy Godzilla has to handle just by existing when we cover the power of his atomic breath. Groudon is also pretty durable. His most impressive feat of durability is being able to take Mega Quadra's Dragon Ascent, although it does take him out of his primal form. the attack creates a pretty big explosion. But how powerful is the attack? Well, the most powerful thing Mega Rayquaza did with his Dragon Ascent was destroy the Delta Meteor. Let's say Rayquaza applied the same amount of force to destroy the Delta Meteor to knock out Groudon and Kyogre. Which, to be honest, he probably applied less force to knock out Groudon and Kyogre than Delta Meteor, but for this, we'll just say it's the same. Looking at the size of the meteor compared to Rayquaza, it's about 1/4 of its size. Rayquaza is about 11 meters, so 11 divided by 4 is around 3 meters. Knowing this, we can calculate its volume to be around 22 meters cubed. That's actually wrong. Editing this, I realized I used the wrong formula. It's probably more like 14 meters cubed, but that doesn't really matter, as you'll see. The meteor seems to be silicated based on its design, and the density of silicate is 2,320 kilograms per meter cubed, so the meteor weighs around 51,000 kilograms. The average meteor goes 20 kilometers per second in orbit, which means its energy is about this amount of joules, which in terms of megatons of TNT is 0.0024 megatons of TNT. But hey, that's still very impressive. That's still a lot of damage. Even if I did make a mistake in the calculations, this is such a wide range that Godzilla still wins in terms of durability, no matter how you cut it. Abilities. Okay, so it isn't looking too good for Groudon, but maybe he can turn around in the abilities category. Let's start with him first. The most obvious place to look for Primal Groudon's abilities would be his actual in-game ability, Desolate Land. This ability increases firepower and evaporates all water. However, I don't think the ability would be any help, because Godzilla doesn't use water, and it might even be a detriment because it could help increase Godzilla's atomic breath. Other abilities he has are his signature Precipice Blades, able to one-shot a Mega Charizard who's strong enough to tank an attack which destroyed an entire mountaintop. They were also able to send Kyogre flying and other helicopters when he was caught off guard. Groudon can also surround his opponents with his Precipice Blades and create a giant explosion. He also has powerful moves like Eruption, Flamethrower, Solar Beam, and Hyper Beam. He can also heat himself up, as well as absorb lava and manipulate the weather. Another ability that's quite notable is his Endurance. He's been stated to fight Kyogre days on end without rest, which is very impressive. Although he wasn't really moving, he was just staying in this little grid. Whilst all these abilities are strong, they just aren't enough to do any damage to Godzilla because of how durable he is. Nonetheless, Groudon's main ability is that he was known to create and raise the continents. But just because he raised them doesn't mean he can destroy them, or that he's even continental level. Anyways, now for Godzilla's abilities. Of course, there's his famous atomic breath. In this movie, he's been able to completely melt down these wire towers. They've been calculated to weigh 98 tons, and Godzilla just melts it casually. The heat and energy needed to melt it would be 13.38 tons of TNT, but that's not even his most impressive atomic breath feat in this movie. Godzilla was able to light up the sea and destroy this cargo ship. The energy needed to do that is 25 pijoules, or 11 megatons of TNT. Other abilities include radiation, where everywhere he goes and touches, everything becomes completely radiated, causing devastating pain and agony. He also has aquatic respiration, so he can swim and hide from Groudon when he needs to, who can't swim. He's also been stated to have regeneration, but it isn't -1 level, just mid-level regeneration. Ultimately, whilst Groudon has a lot more abilities, Godzilla's durabilities are so strong and deadly they make up for it. Godzilla wins the ability points. Intelligence. We've covered their brawns, but how's their brains? Godzilla's IQ isn't amazing. He's pretty dumb, as he just walks into traps, and his main tactic is just to walk, and if that doesn't work, fire. He's very animalistic and relies on instincts to survive. He's also never faced another monster, so his battle IQ is much lower than Groudon's. Groudon, however, is actually pretty smart. Firstly, inherently as a Pokemon, he's smart. He's able to learn moves, train, and take commands. Whilst we don't see this in the anime, it's an inherent fact for all Pokemon. Groudon has also battled several other very strong Pokemon, like Rayquaza, Kyurem, and of course his biggest op, Kyogre. Groudon also uses abilities smartly. He can use tactics like surrounding his opponent with blades, or absorb lava to get stronger, which also show a decent level of strategy and planning. In terms of intelligence, Groudon takes this category because of his strategic battle tactics and his extensive combat experience. Ultimately, most factors point to Godzilla winning. He's stronger, he's more durable, he has better abilities, he's bigger. Groudon only wins in terms of IQ and battle IQ, as well as speed. But for IQ, that won't really matter when Godzilla hits so hard and can take so many hits. Of course, Groudon also wins in terms of speed, which is the only way he could maybe win. Groudon has a lot of endurance, so he can just run away the whole time, but that endurance only lasted so long because he was just standing there fighting Kyogre. If we did that to Godzilla, Godzilla would crush him. Groudon could just run away the whole time, but at that point, it's a Godzilla win, because Groudon had to retreat. And it's not like Groudon is light speed, he's only a bit faster than Godzilla, so Godzilla would probably eventually catch up. In conclusion, whilst Groudon is faster, smarter, and can last very long in a fight, Godzilla's overwhelming strength, abilities, and endurance will prove too much for the continent Pokemon. Thanks for watching, and how do you think this fight would play out?